Hey, 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 welcome into the House of L podcast. I am on the road today, so I thought I would do the pod here instead of going all the way back home because once I leave this place, I want to just go home and enjoy Sunday night football. And I promise we will have the morning buzz tomorrow. We are brought to you by Remy. If you're watching on YouTube, shout out to you for watching on YouTube. You guys have done an incredible job of growing the House of L YouTube page. I am at Wonderverse in Oak Brook. This place is awesome. If you're on YouTube, you can see I've got the Ghostbusters proton packs behind me. And I was like, what better backdrop is there for me to do the podcast than from here? Right. So they've been really kind. They gave me a room to record. And I'm going to let you know what I think about the game because I was working today. I was going to do a whole pod about how the schedule is going to be a little off because I'm working with Olin and Patrick. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow on the morning buzz on like what that's like for me as someone who worked with those guys and covered those guys when I was coming up in the business. But let's get to the Bears themselves. What an impressive performance from the Bears in this one. I don't ordinarily like to make picks, but they asked me today to make a pick before the end of the game. And I said 30-17. I felt like being really bullish on the Bears offense. And this Carolina team is just crap. The thing that I knew was going to happen, and I feel very justified and vindicated in this, is that I knew that Andy Dalton was going to turn back into a pumpkin. I know that it was real cute for people to be like, well, see, now everything's going to run smoothly because Bryce Young's out of there and Andy Dalton is back and he's going to get this thing going in the right direction. Andy Dalton can only go so high. He can there's only at this point he can only fly so high reading Rainbow. He's not going to be able to lift a team consistently, and once defensive coordinators get their hands on tape, they're going to be able to look at what he does or what he doesn't do and say, why are we letting this guy beat us? So the Bears defense today was like, after that first drive, and that was an impressive drive by Carolina and Chuba Hubbard to come through and make plays. But after that, you just knew that they weren't going to do anything, that they're not capable. And then as the injuries started to pile up for them, you knew that it wasn't going to work for them, that they weren't going to be a problem, that you didn't have to worry about the revenge of Andy Dalton. You didn't have to worry about that. The Bears did what they needed to do defensively. I think in coming weeks, we're going to start talking more about the Bears defense, and we're going to start talking about them. Like, we spend a lot of time worrying about like where the quarterback is. This defense is playing fantastic. And they played fantastic without Montez Sweat even really being a big part of what the defense was doing. Like, that to me was incredible that you saw other guys play their role. Everyone ate on the defense because Montez was getting a lot of attention. Their right tackle was doing a great job against him, but other guys did their job. Byard was great. Brisker continues to be great. Kyler Gordon with another top-notch game from him. Andrew Billings, and you've heard me say this, you've seen me say this. I want an Andrew Billings cam. I just want a camera of what he's doing, snap in and snap out. The guy is incredible. He's so fun. He's so fun to watch that it's a joy, really, to watch this guy do his thing and watch him collapse the pocket on quarterbacks. The Bears defense is stifling. The fact that they're not giving up points, that they're in this cycle where they're not allowing teams to score more than 20 points, you're going to win a lot of damn games if that's what your defense is good at doing. If they're only going to give up 20 or less, you should be a playoff team. Even with a rookie quarterback who I think continues to get better. I think when you look at the way Caleb Williams played in this game, you are watching the continued ascension and learning of a young quarterback. Now, you have to take into account the opponent. Carolina's not good. And even the good players they have on their team are mostly injured. The Rams last week, it probably would have been a different game had Puka Nacua been available or Cooper Kupp had been available, but they weren't. They weren't. I'm not trying to sell you false hope. I think that we still have to live in a space where we start talking about the challenges of the Bears when they face good teams. But I always say this: winning buys you time. And each week you can see there be some growth and some development from Caleb Williams. And that's what you're looking for. What I do think is interesting is how many people want to make the comparison with Jaden Daniels and are living and dying like week to week if Caleb isn't perceived to be better. I would just tell you that to me, their development path seems different. I think that Jaden Daniels is doing really well right now, and you should applaud that man for what he's doing. I also think they're not asking him to do a ton, but what they are asking him to do, he's doing at a high level. I was talking with Olin and Patrick about this. I think that their offense is way more horizontal than I'm comfortable with, but they're winning, so who cares? And when they ask Jaden Daniels to make big throws vertically down the field, he nails them. It's a different thing than what's going on with Caleb. To me, this is just my opinion. Caleb is working towards what I think will be a higher ceiling from a football processing point of view. I don't want to throw shade at Jaden Daniels because, as a lot of you know, I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I think he's going to be just fine. I just think that the choice that Washington has made is comfort. They've chosen to make Jaden Daniels comfort in an offense that he is very familiar with, and he's succeeding. Eventually, I think the league is going to stifle that a little bit. But being able to do that against Cleveland, which has a pretty good defensive personnel, I think is impressive. I also think what Caleb did today was impressive. And he was playing against a dog-ass team, but he was efficient. You saw all the special stuff. You saw him make throws on the run. You saw crazy arm strength. You saw a guy that makes a pop when he throws it. Whenever we used to be at training camp and we talk about like being around quarterbacks, there's a difference. Like some guys just have an arm. And I always talk about the whistle. A guy who, when he throws the ball, you can hear the whistle of it. Caleb, when he wants to and he just rears back and lets it go, you can see that he's got that. Whether he's doing this, whether he's throwing from here, whether he's throwing from here, like throwing around guys, he is capable of making like these tremendous plays. I love that DJ Moore got what he needed today too, that they made a point to get him the ball, and he got the ball. I mean, everyone ate today. That's kind of how I look at this. Everyone ate on the offense. DeAndre Swift with 120 total yards from scrimmage in this game. They got the ball to DJ Moore. Cole Kmet made a huge play down the middle of the field. Everyone gets a chance to eat. And what I think it's setting up, and what I think is a really good thing for the Bears, is that it gives them a chance to really do damage because there's so many different outlets. Like, I'll run it down for you in the statistics. 105 yards for DJ Moore, 40 yards for Roma Dunze, 57 yards for Cole Kmet, 33 yards for Keenan Allen, 47 yards for DeAndre Swift, 22 yards for Gerald Everett. Everyone got to touch the ball and make a contribution to what this offense is trying to do. And when you establish that, you make it really difficult for defenses to key in on one or two people. Remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about there being way too much DeAndre Carter? You didn't see DeAndre Carter today because Keenan Allen's healthy. And when he's on the field, it makes a difference. So to me, this was a great win for the Bears. Had you lost this game and you're going across the pond to go take on the London Jaguars, I don't know if anyone feels good about it. But now you have an opportunity to be on a win streak before you go on bye. And that to me is money. And then you'll start seeing an uptick in opponents. You're going to see Jaden Daniels. You're going to see Kyler Murray. You're going to see the NFC North. But winning buys you time. And the quarterback looks like he's really getting it. And one of the other things I'll say about Caleb, and what I think is indicative of his growth, the amount of times Caleb Williams is changing plays at the line of scrimmage, or he's changing protections at the line of scrimmage. What that says to me is that he has a very good knowledge base of what this offense is. And if he's got a knowledge base and you've seen some of the talent, it's just a matter of time. I said 2 weeks ago that he's real close to a breakthrough. And if you want to count today, fine. But I stand on that he's real close to a breakthrough that I think is going to make everyone ecstatic about what his chances are of becoming a great quarterback. It was pretty much a perfect game for the Bears against the Panthers. And sure, they're not very good, but you got to take who's in front of you. Who are the teams that are on your schedule? Did you beat them? Because if you did, you did. And it buys you time until you get to that tougher part of your schedule where you're playing Minnesota and Green Bay and Detroit. Now you might be ready for them. I got to do a deeper dive on that Minnesota thing, man. I got to do a much deeper dive because it's pretty wild what they're doing up there. But we'll have a morning buzz for you tomorrow, brought to you by Remy Martin. House of L is brought to you by Remy Martin. For those of you on YouTube, what do you think happens if I push this button? Does anything happen? Hang on, let's see. See if I push this button. Oh! Something does happen. Cool. By the way, if you haven't been to Wonderverse in Oak Brook, you should totally check it out. It's games, it's movies, it's retro stuff, it's skee ball. Wait, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. You can't tell me that's not fun. Seeing the proton pack light up like that. But if you haven't been out here, you should go. Your fantasy basketball draft should be here. Your fantasy hockey draft should be here. You should watch Bears games here. And the score is going to be back here on November 3rd for that game against the Arizona Cardinals. But this was a dope experience to hang out here and be around all this like old school stuff and nostalgia and everything else. So that's it. That's all I got. I've had a busy day. I appreciate you rocking with me. Those of you on YouTube, thank you so much. For those of you who are just listening audio only, I apologize about the sound. I'm usually a stickler for sound, but your boy is tired, okay? And I don't feel like going all the way back home and then giving you the energy. I got energy now, so I figured I'd do the pod now, and we got you covered tomorrow. I'll put the morning buzz on Spotify and on Apple as well for you to make up for the fact that the audio of this recording is not great. Deal? Deal. All right, one more time for the Proton Pack. Woohoo! See you next time. Achoo!